going up against Team Rogue. And let's start talking about Nova first. Nova is this team that, at the start of last season, very little expectation of them. They were kind of unknown players in the grand scheme of things, but they've started to build a reputation for themselves. And now they're at a point where I think we've been talking about how they've been exceeding expectations. That has become an expectation for them.
Yeah, for sure. And Eco coming in as the sub player for Nova is replacing Starboy for at least this weekend. This guy is showing up big, and it's showing for his team. The way he's supporting the players, Truth of Light and Lone Delphi on the roster, they're playing really good. And their drafts also, credit goes to their coach, Vainglory8. They're doing a great job of just understanding how to approach these games when it comes to their preparation and how they execute as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to see how they're going to be able to execute over the course of today. Let's take a look at the roster for Nova Esports as they're going to be jumping on into their games here today. Obviously, as you mentioned, it's going to be Eco jumping in the place of Starboy, but Truth was also a huge highlight player yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, Truth, it's just kind of what we've come to expect from him, is to be making these highlight-type plays going into his opponents, playing these hyper carries, and just being able to almost single-handedly win fights at times, it feels. But it's the most impressive thing for me was when Eco coming into the roster, you always question when there's a substitute used. Is the team going to play with the same strategy? Do they use the same style? And it was very much the same style of play that we normally see from Nova when Starboy is in.
Absolutely. They're living up to their reputation. And we actually spoke to one of the players from Nova during the week. It was Lone Delphi. And I asked him what the preparation was like for Nova coming on into a normal week of the Vainglory8.
So prepare for VG8 each week. We just scrim a decent amount, prepare draft, maybe find a new hero or strategy we like that we think we can use against the team we're playing on day one, and just make sure we're ready for whoever we're going to play against.
All right, so definitely putting in the hours and making sure that they're ready for each and every week of the Vainglory8. Let's take a look at their opponents. It's going to be Rogue coming on in. Now, yesterday they were against Tempo Storm and they were looking fantastic. This team has been looking fantastic in general, and there's big expectations from some of the other pro teams of what Rogue can bring onto the table this season.
Yeah, I mean,
we saw Flashx talk about them too. He said that this is one of the teams he's expecting to do a lot better this season, especially with how much more practice they're putting in, especially upon the original two, his characters and his hero pools, and Hammy showing up, stepping up this season actually, and keeping up with his teammates upon the original, as I mentioned, and Evil, an incredibly skilled captain player. This is a team to look out for sure.
Absolutely. And the player to watch coming into this series, it's got to be Eco for me. He's come in as a substitute in the captain role, but yesterday absolutely stepped up to the plate, and I want him to do the same today. I want to see that same progression coming out from this player. Definitely looks like he has the potential to really step up to the Vainglory8 level.
Yeah, he was playing phenomenally. You see, the kill participation wasn't that great, but that's because Truth goes off and gets so many kills on his own. But when he was with the team, when they were team fighting, his plays of keeping them alive were spectacular. And obviously, again, going to be looking to see him continue to step up, continue to play at that top level alongside the rest of Nova.
Absolutely. Well, it's time to start to talk about the draft as the players are ready to get on into this one. They're raring to start this semi-final, as am I. So what are we expecting to see come out from these guys? Because we know that Kestrel has been kind of a fringe pick, but when it gets into the hands of Truth, that can single-handedly win a game.
It can definitely win a games. And also, I'm more focused on Eco. I believe he's still playing for them. We saw Arden come out from him. We saw Baptiste yesterday. So the matchup between Baptiste and Grace, I know Evil likes Grace a lot, and even himself, he thought that Baptiste is a great matchup against the Grace once you get your Echo. So I'm expecting similar strategies coming out of Nova, just focusing on getting Truth on something he can carry on, and then having Lone Delphi on something stable, something solid he can always perform well on no matter what, and then Eco being the player that can show up and just take over the game.
All right, well, Blackfeather is going to be the first ban of this one. Catherine follows it up, and then Nova going to lock in that lance. So getting Eco a solid pick very early in the draft.
Yeah, assuming that does go to Eco, that can also very easily be flexed onto Lone Delphi. He has an excellent lance. But a rhyme right off the bat for the side of Rogue. And we know Pon the Original is not afraid to pick up this hero, but this is so risky to grab it early like this.
It really is very risky, but I think what Rogue are saying is if you're gonna pick up Lance, you're most likely gonna pick up another melee hero just because you want to dive. And if you don't, if you go for double range with Lance, that's not the strongest composition just because Lance is gonna be alone on the front line and he's not the tankiest of captain heroes.
Also, let's remember that Pon was kind of being banned out yesterday. A lot of his hero pool was being targeted, so maybe Rogue just saying, look, we know that Pon is great on Rhyme, let's just get this comfort pick.
And I mean, the first ban from Nova, the Black Feather, that is targeted against Pon the original, so I agree with you there. I think Rogue is just trying to play it safe to not have Pon the original locked out of his regular heroes.
We'll see how they're going to follow this one up. Still 40 seconds to play with, so Rogue a lot of time to strategize. What do you expect to see here, Bacon?
Well, they're gonna grab the Grace. This is very strong with Rhyme because it just means he takes so long to kill. But again, it's the fact that they're hiding their lane carry makes a lot of sense here. It's very smart to try and save that as a counter pick because of the likelihood of Rhyme getting counter picked against, and so you're just trying to answer that yourself. So it's definitely going to be an interesting decision. I would expect Celeste or Scarf to something along those lines to be one of these last two picks, but Nova grabbed themselves the Kestrel. Very likely going to be in Truth's hands in the lane because he's one of the players that loves to pick this hero up.
What Nova are thinking about right now is how they can fit the Baptiste captain into this composition. Because we mentioned earlier, they like it into the matchup of Grace because it plays really well, CCing her out of her ultimate, fearing her away. But because they already had Lance and you don't want to run Lance jungle against Rhyme, they can't do that. Instead, they go for the Scarf. This is most likely going to be a Scarf jungle CP because you don't want to play Weapon Power Kestrel in the jungle. Unless you're going to play double CP, then that works too. But I expect it to be a Truth on Kestrel in lane. He performed so well on it yesterday. And Scarf to be in the jungle for Lone Delphi. Composition-wise, this is a strong composition. Like I mentioned, though, it forced the Rhyme pick from Rogue, forced Nova to go into a double range with the Lance. And while this is fine, you can play it because you can just use your range advantage and then Lance is your front line that can just peel and kite away. At the same time, Lance is not the tankiest of captain roamers and he can be focused out.
Yeah, it's not particularly... If you could pick a captain after going with those double range, Lance probably wouldn't be your first pick. What are we thinking about the composition coming out from their opponents then coming into this one?
The Vox is a little bit surprising to me because it's not that hyper carry that we've been seeing Hammy on and having so much success with. And it doesn't really, like... You usually want something that's going to be scaling up longer in the fights. Obviously, Vox can do that with breaking point stacks, but when you have a Grace and a Rhyme, the Vox just seems a little bit weird to me. Like, it's not a bad pick, but it's not necessarily a great pick into that.
I mean, it works well against Lance, and the thing is, Rogue are going to want to play this aggressive. They're going to want to be in the face of Nova so that they don't give them the opportunity to use their range advantage. And Grace works perfectly with Vox because he can just play very aggressive on the front line while Grace is healing him from the back line while he's stacking his breaking point. So it does synergize well, but Rogue have a clear advantage with their range.
All right, we'll see if Rogue are going to be able to pull this one off. It's time to jump into game. Hashtag Vainglory8 on Twitter. Let us know who you're supporting. But it's time to start our first semi-final from North America and pass it to our casters.
All right, let's go. Thank you, Munchables. And of course, Tasty Bacon, Iraqi Zoro breaking it down for us. Nova versus Rogue in a semifinals. And I'm here with Sean Ossino. Sean, how are you liking these drafts?
I am liking the drafts. I'm especially liking Nova's draft. We're going to see a lot of siege potential coming out of Lone Delphi on this Scarf, Truth on this Kestrel. A lot of damage potential, especially with the Scarf potentially getting broken mid stacks, and there's some aggression here from Evil, just a little bit.
Yeah, a little poking and prodding happening over here. Eco, of course, is going to hold his own. You see that he's got the boot, so even if he wants to, he could probably get a little more aggressive. I like the Protector contract as well early on.
Yeah, I like that too. What he's going to have to do here is he's going to have to peel a lot for his team because he has two really squishy carries, and they're fighting over this Elder Treant here, but not making much of it.
You know what? Like the early game, for me, watching this, of course, it comes down to applying damage and landing abilities, but that's happening the whole time. It's really about juggling that healing flask.
Yeah, you do have to juggle that healing flask. The sustain in early game is very important, and Evil going pretty low.
He did well. He frontlined for his team. Pawn's able to grab the Elder Treant. He's going to port back, probably grab up another item. He's just Crystal Bits and one pair of boots.
Yeah, he's got triple crystal bits on him, which is actually really good for Rhyme. He's going to be able to do a lot of damage. As we know, for Rhyme, he is that even though he's a CP mage, he's still like one of those bruiser, tankier guys on his team. So he's going to be able to get in the fights and be able to sustain very well with that fortified health and those Valkyries, Winter Spires, Holy Nova coming down.
Yeah, Holy Nova coming down. The chase is on. Pawn, he's going to boot forward. He wants Eco. Eco, a nice timing of his own. Chill Winds is going to land. Delphi's here, though. Should peel Pawn off of this, but Pawn really hanging around. He got his healing flask out. Hammy's here. Hammy's looking for a target. It's like, pick someone. Oh, he falls in. He's got, yeah, he actually did get the first blood there. Nice benediction in there. Nice goop down. Hammy dropping very low. Nice job by Lone Delphi. Zones out Evil as he pulls back, saving his teammate there. So a very good job. Hammy will get a little bit of the farm in the lane, but you can see these teams very aggressive early on.
Yeah, Evil actually picked up the first blood there. Not necessarily what you want to get, being the captain. You want that extra gold to be going to one of your carries. However, it's better to get one kill than none, right? So Hammy was able to actually escape there and port back actually by himself, a Blazing Salvo, looks like. And that's going to get him towards his build quicker. He's probably going to be going for a Poison Shiv here to get that sustain in lane.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how this Vox is going to work out. You know, we heard our analysts talking about it, kind of mixed opinions on the strengths. Bacon kind of feeling like it doesn't really play so well necessarily into the Kestrel and the Scarf, but how do you expect it to play out?
Well, I'd like to see the Vox building up that the Poison Shiv, Sorrow Blade, maybe a Tension Bow to get some of that burst damage, especially onto a Scarf or a Kestrel. That way he can get these squishy targets down really, really fast, and then maybe by the time we get to late game, finish it off with maybe a breaking point. Yeah, this turret's getting a little chip damage on there. Truth
it really is. You can see Truth taking a lot of damage as well. Oh, a nice impale! Oh, Eco making the plays. Now an active camel forward. Truth is on to Evil. Evil's probably going to go down. Yes, he will. How about a double kill coming through from the Kestrel? That was beautiful.
Yeah, really well done. See, that's the thing that Eco is good at too, is with this lance, he's landing those impales. So landing those impales are going to be so important for his team because he needs to be on the front line initiating these team fights. We got to have Lone Delphi and Truth on the back line, but once somebody is impaled, they're an immobile target. We can just see groups, Spitfires, Glimmer Shots raining down upon them.
Raining down upon them. You know, as I watch this, like, I feel until Hammy gets like 3 items, he's actually going to probably struggle. That's just my personal feeling, but I feel like it's going to come down to Pawn.
Yeah, it's going to come down to Pawn to be that front line, and he actually has not really been rotating with them so much, I feel. He's been doing his own thing down there in the jungle, but he's actually got a pretty good level advantage right now. Him and the Scarf are both at level 5. Feels good, man, for Pawn, but he just needs to... Looks like he's working towards that Shattered Glass now, so he can get some really good burst damage coming out of this Rhyme.
The delicious burst damage that you speak of. Well, it's going to be a situation where I think Pawn probably looks to engage after this rotation. He's got the ultimate ready to go now. If he can drop that on the Kestrel, who's trying to active camo or retreat, that could be pretty good.
Yeah, that can be pretty good, especially we know that with this weapon-powered Kestrel, she doesn't have the disengage potential or kiting potential that a CP Kestrel would have. The CP Kestrel can be invis for practically a long time, but it looks like there's an engage.
Jump in, benediction there, Holy Nova, not going to connect. Truth just kind of waiting, hoping that someone walks back into that active camo. And Pawn swoops down into the jungle. But this is actually Hammy, really standing his ground. He had the healing flask going. He felt he could be bold. Sonic zooming, trying to get some chip damage on the Eco. Eco really not having it. He's incredibly tanky thus far. Still holding his own healing flask and a fountain. Pawn walks up, gets the wall. He's in the goop. Impale is going to land as well. Healing flask from Pawn. Pawn stands his ground. The Winter Spire's coming out, but he goes down. Truth collapsing. Just making that pincer maneuver down. And Pawn Original couldn't handle the damage. They're going to take his mids away as well.
Yeah, they're going to take his mids away. Look at Truth. He has got a Tyrant's Monocle online. He's working towards a little bit of crit damage. He's actually picked up some more crit damage. He's probably going for double Tyrant's Monocle already with that heavy steel. He could potentially pick himself up a Sorrow Blade later on.
Active camo forward. If the Impale lands, he's going to light Hammy up. Hammy, ooh, 287 damage coming out. Man, you have to respect Truth right now.
Yes, you have to respect Truth. These Glimmer Shots, this damage coming out. Oh, one shot.
That was cute.
Wow. Very, very nice. We have the Poison Shiv up online now for Hammy, but he's just gotta they got to turtle up here just a little bit, play under their turret until they come online.
At what point would they actually be online, in your opinion?
Well, we got to have Hammy get those 3 damage items, especially once he gets maybe a Sorrow Blade next. Breaking Point would be really good for him to be able to ramp up the damage in those team fights. And then we could see him start to do some real work here, but he's very vulnerable right now, being the only squishy hero, really, on the side of Rogue.
I feel vulnerable casting with you, Sean. That voice, oh, evil, getting lit up. Look at the glimmer shots coming through. Ribbit. We'll see how this is going to play out. Truth, very accurate with those glimmer shots, of course. Now, down in the jungle, Pawn able to take the mid away from Delphi. Delphi's been pretty quiet thus far, but very accurate. Pawn walks right into an impale. He's getting lit up on the goop. Pawn's in a bad place. Valkyrie comes down. He's trying to trade. He gets the fountain. Delphi's dropping low. Benediction in from Evil. Holy Nova's going to be off the mark. Crystal Sentry trying to fight. Now Dragon's Breath. That's going to knock him actually out of the one shot. No, the one shot did connect. Beautiful shot from Truth, and now Evil will fall as well. What a disaster coming through here for Rogue, but Nova coming out on top.
They did come out on top, Humanist, and they just riveted right through the side of Rogue. Beautiful one-shot, one-kill came out from Truth. He was all the way up in lane near the
He
turret.
killed Hammy in the lane too, right? Like, I didn't catch it. My eyes weren't there.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the replay here, Humanist. So as the fight was going on in the tri-bush, we had Rhyme just going so low. He was trying to sustain. He had that fortified health, and that because that Nova was off the mark, we actually see Evil just getting lit
my
up.
goodness. Truth killed Hammy and turned for a one-shot in the jungle and took the double kill.
It was beautiful, and that's the great thing about having your team members all the way across the map providing vision for you. If you're a Kestrel, you can just snipe people out from everywhere.
This guy's pretty good. Pretty good. I mean, honestly, this is kind of all-star material. Pawn, 2 glimmer shots. Evil will tank up the one shot. It was coming through looking for Pawn the original. I mean, honestly, this Rhyme's not feeling too tanky right now. You talked about him being kind of a frontline aspect, something that Vox could use kind of like a pivot point in a fight, but I don't see that happening thus far.
I don't see it happening either, but the important thing is that he needs to get those basic attacks off or those Winter Spires off. Once he does that, he's able to get that fortified health. We could see him building it up right there. But if he's not getting his hits off, then he's not going to build that fortified health, and he's just going to be bursted down.
Well, Pawn, he of course picked up that infusion. He could feel the pressure, felt like he needed to be a little more impactful here through these next few minutes, but that does set him back just a touch. It appears he'll be building into Evil Harvest. Do you like that as the second item here? Makes sense to me.
It makes sense to me because he's going to need that sustained energy regeneration. He is going to be using a lot of his Winter Spires, Valkyries to be coming down, those chill winds as well. We do see Truth with actually an unconventional build here. Check out this Breaking Point Double Tyrant's monocle, looking maybe to build towards a tension bow right now. He's got that piercing spear, so it's a very interesting build, and it seems to be working.
Does he just go Bonesaw last item?
He could go Bonesaw, yeah, I guess, but we don't have that much armor on the side of Rogue, so I feel like tension bow would probably be a good pickup.
We'll see what's going to happen. Nice impale, Eco. A Githian wall comes through. The Valkyrie onto lone Delphi. Delphi got to get back. The Fountain keeping alive for now. Divine Intervention comes out onto Hammy, but Hammy getting lit up by Truth. Has to respect the damage and the crits coming out. Truth just built up a couple breaking point stacks quite quickly, but as they drop off the fight, so do the stacks. And both teams are going to reset here as Nova pressures onto the turret. Do Rogue look to defend this? Yes, they do. Truth dropping low. A nice kill coming in by Hammy. Dragon's Breath burning Hammy down. Delphi will trade, finding that kill, but it's 2 for Rogue as they find the defense.
Very nicely played by Rogue, playing it just in front of their turret, protecting it, and that was a really good trade for them. They took out Truth in the beginning of the fight, the main damage dealer. That's who they needed to go for, and that's who they need to keep bursting down. Let's take a look at the replay here. And it looks like my Skype is actually frozen up.
JK.
It's okay, I can't see anything, but anyway.
It's a beautiful replay. I can see what's going on. They just kind of flank up from the jungle here. Delphi does kind of leave himself vulnerable by winding up for that ultimate, and he commits to it, absolutely, but he's just gone too far. So in the end, Nova paid for it a little bit, but they're definitely still in a good position in this game. They've got net worth advantage. They're up at 8-3 the kill score. We're only 11.5 minutes in here.
Yeah, we're only 11.5 minutes in here, and there's that tension boat we actually see. Gold miner's going really low.
Yeah, it's really low. It's a nice 400 gold each coming through for Nova, like they needed it. And that's just going to put them over the top here. Watch how fast this breaking point's going to build up here for Truth if he does connect on a couple Glimmer shots now. Impale it down. Whoa! Rest in peace, Pawn the original. My goodness, we might need a remix on Pawn version 2. Now the chase is on. Evil going down. One shot comes through. How about a triple kill?
How about a triple kill?
That was delicious.
Oh, hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. That's what's going on here, man. Let's look at the replay, Humanist. So once the impale lands, there was just so much damage. 601 critting onto that rhyme. They just backed off, and we see the channeling of the ultimate coming out of this scarf from Lone Delphi. Truth getting the triple kill with the one shot, one kill. So accurate.
Eco knocked him back into that. Eco Githian walled him back. Oh,
good repositioning.
So good.
Oh.
Wow.
I love it. I love it, Humanist. Everything that Truth is doing right now, I'm in love with him.
He is the truth, right?
He is the truth. He is the light. He's only got one death on him. He's sitting at 8-1-2 right now. He's practically full build. He just needs to maybe get himself some journey boots. He actually still on tier 1 boots. He could get himself some travel boots, get some journey boots on him. He's going to be able to get in and out of these fights. Exactly what he's been doing. He's positioning himself so well to be away from the fight, meeting the win conditions that we've got to see coming out of the siege composition. They're staying away. Scarf and Truth are staying away from the fight. Eco is peeling for them. One shot, one kills. Glimmer shots just raining down upon the side of Rogue.
I mean, Delphi on this jungle scarf is about to hit a 3 offensive item power spike. Less than 14 minutes into the game here. Oh, the fight's gonna happen. Hammy moving forward. Hammy, he's locked onto Truth, but he's gonna lose sight of him. Nice active camo. He trades it around. Truth finding the damage now. How's it gonna play out? Evil with the benediction in here. Pawn wants to find him a nice stun coming out of Eco. Another active camo. Truth winds up, lines up on Pawn, but Pawn with another Winter Spire starts zoning him out. How is he gonna play this out? He can't sit into another Winter Spire, but he has the damage to light him up. One Glimmer shot. Eco doing his best with the Githian wall to peel him. 666 damage. Woo! That's demonic. Truth, how do you do what you do?
The sentry, though, takes him down.
This comes through. Pawn stays alive at the end of it. Crystal Sentry won a little. That's the ace for Rogue.
The ace for Rogue. Wow. So what was actually interesting about that fight is we had Eco egressing, leaving the fight, but he wasn't able to get away because he had some auto attack damage on him. And let's go ahead and take a look at the replay, Humanist. So we actually have them going really low. Everybody's getting melted down. We have the Divine Intervention come out here. Eco comes in with that impale. He's not able to connect, but he actually ends up zoning out just a little bit. He comes in here. It's a 2v1 situation right here on Pawn the Original. Not able to hit with that impale. And once he gets those chill wins on him, he's just done for. Truth able to egress successfully, but a lot of damage coming out onto Evil. This Crystal Sentry just cleans it up.
Ace.
It is so important that they have vision of Truth through these fights. Like, they have to have flares down on top of the Kestrel to have a chance in this fight. Because he is dropping the active camo. I mean, they're applying damage, but he quickly Glimmer shots, boom, active the camo again. Yeah, it's so elusive. At this point, Rogue, you can see that they feel they need to do something. Evil will get hit with a Spitfire. Got to be careful not to allow Delphi to just build up free broken myth stacks, as well as Nova hold control of the Tri-Brush in the middle area of this map.
We see Truth is actually sitting on a decaying weapon infusion. Same thing with Hammy, but Hammy's is level 10 and we have a level 12 on Truth. So much damage that's going to be coming out of Truth. Even more so than there already is. He just picked up another weapon infusion.
And the journey boots. This is when Truth is... Okay, we've gone too far, team. We'll just go to game 2 now. Sorry. Sorry for all the fans and viewers. We're just gonna cut this one off. No, I'm just kidding.
Let's just jump over to a new lily pad, Humanist.
It is like, it will be an extreme situation if they take Truth down at this point. This guy's completely come into his own. Evil flares out, flares comes right back from Nova. They know what's going on. Hammy wants some. Pawn's gonna move in with the Valkyrie and probably look to steal this. Attempt is a 2-man impale. They block off the Githian wall. A good job as they look to move in forward here. Delphi, he needs to move back. Hammy starts to apply mortal wound and some damage. A nice active camo stun. Dragon's Breath coming forward. Hammy melts down 392 damage. They find the kill. Pawn trying to stand his ground. Does he have enough sustain and damage? Truth just dancing around. The damage coming out of the Winter Spires, and now Evil who's pretty much full health, will look to make some sort of heroic play here. Evil, what's the play?
Oh.
He's in and he's out! Oh, get wrecked, dude! You just got memed! Ace comes through, Nova take the Kraken as well, and they're gonna look to close this one out.
Oh man, Evil was looking to go in for a Benetton right there, but Eco knew he was coming in for it. What happens? Get the in-wall up. You're not getting in here. You're not taking our Kraken. This Kraken is on the leash for Nova. And one other thing I want to talk about in that last team fight was this 3-item Scarf is doing so much work, especially with those ultimates.
So much work coming out here. And, you know, when Delphi on the Scarf, who's slightly, you know, ahead of his opponent as far as item build, is the quiet one on the map, you know things are going well. Nova, we're going to look to close this one out. Kraken's still quite healthy. Rogue, we're going to have to make some interesting decisions here. Evil's going to move forward as the Wait For It does as well. Truth gets back. Valkyrie off the mark. Rogue are going to have to switch back onto the Kraken. One turret remaining here. Nova, they start to poke. The Goop's down. A nice stun coming out one more time from Eco. Dragon's Breath. Burn, baby, burn. Nova looking to take this one here. Destruction in the base of Rogue as Nova, dominant fashion, take game one.
What a complete domination from Nova. 18-6. So many kills on the board, thanks to Truth, the 13-kill Kestrel, and this 11-assist Scarf. Just doing so much work with the sustain and with the heavy damage from those ultimates. Well played.
Well played indeed. That was really nice, and I'm sure Tasty Bacon's happy that his analysis came out all right there in that one as well. With that, we'll throw it over to the desk. Munchables, take it away.
We said that Truth will dominate if you give him that Kestrel, and dominate he did. Exceptional performance coming out from him and from the rest of the team of Nova. And, you know, we were talking about before this game started, this is a team that has regularly exceeded expectations, and I don't think anyone was expecting this to be that one-sided.
Yeah, I mean, you said we expect them to exceed expectations. The expectation was they would put up a good fight against Rogue. They exceeded that by just dominating Rogue in game number 1.
They absolutely dominated, and they used their composition perfectly like how they needed to. They got such a huge lead early game and mid game by beautiful plays from Truth of Light. I believe we have a replay that we can show on the screen where Truth of Light, we can see here, Rhyme starts the team fight against Lon Delphi, and Pond the Original is doing the right thing. He's invading, trying to use his Rhyme to... He's trying to use his Rhyme to the advantage that he can. Truth of Light, once he's left alone with Hammy, ends up picking a solo kill on him in lane, and then turns around, uses the one-shot, one-kill to secure the kill on Pod the Original, and then the ace gets picked up by Rogue. Off of that, they get the turret, they get the gold mine, and Truth as well. Ghost takes the enemy jungle backs, just putting Nova so far ahead of Rogue.
Yeah. Honestly, that kind of performance out of a single player is just beautiful, and he saved his jungler there as well. The next replay is at 11 minutes 40 into the game. Bacon, do you want to talk me through this one?
Yeah, and this, I was going to say, that wasn't the only time we saw Truth make one of those long-range plays. This one, first of all, they start off by just deleting Pond, and it's not very often you see a Rhyme get taken out that quickly. But then, once Truth recognizes that he's too low, he backs out of the fight. One shot, using the Githian wall to knock him into the one shot. Beautiful teamwork from the side of Nova. And we said Eco, the one sort of downside of him was that he didn't have that great kill participation. 16 out of 18 is pretty darn good.
Yeah, he's definitely feeling good off the back of that one. The whole of Nova should be feeling good off the back of that one. And we have a replay of the end of that game as well coming on through as Nova kind of just finished things off.
This is more towards the end. At this point, Nova is 8k ahead, and we see Rogue trying to approach Nova's composition, trying to get in range so that Vox is able to use his damage output and try to clean up, but they're not able to, because as we mentioned, Lance is a good front line to just peel away whoever's trying to come onto Scarf and onto Kestrel. Evil ends up using his heals a little bit too early, and here he tries to steal the Kraken, but the Lance Githian wall is shut down. He just denies him the opportunity to even try. Great play from Eco and great play from Nova.
Yeah, exceptional stuff coming out from the entire team. And honestly, Rogue, they're going to have to be coming kind of back to the drawing board and looking at this game with maybe a bit of a scratch of the head here, because that was a lot more one-sided than it should have been, I feel, coming in.
The Kestrel ban, they don't want to deal with it anymore. And I think that's pretty smart. Like, at this point, no matter what Truth is playing against with that Kestrel, he's showing up big. So just take him off of that character.
Yeah, the thing is now, though, I mean, Truth can always fall back to the Idris. Like, he is so talented on these big playmaking heroes that are difficult to lock down. Like, if you do lock them down, they just blow up in an instant, but you have to be able to get that initial lockdown first. With a Lance, you can maybe find those lockdowns. So I do actually like the Lance pick by Rogue. Nova gonna grab Arden, leaving the Grace on the table is a bit of a surprise.
I mean, what's interesting here is that the meta is developing between these teams within the series. You see the Lance being picked up first pick. We saw Eco on it last game doing great plays. Evol is another player that's extremely mechanically skilled that can perform and use Lance to the same extent, shutting down his opponents. And this time he's going to be going up against Arden. Watch out for Kythian Walls stunning Arden out of his gauntlet. Those would be the biggest plays.
Yeah, trying to knock him out of the air mid-animation. That's what we're looking for there. Rogue looking towards this next ban. Obviously, Pond being banned away on the Rhyme once again by Nova. They're not having any of that.
Yeah, I mean, even though it wasn't able to get the win, it still had a couple of moments where the Rhyme may have been able to find some opportunities, and without having the Kestrel available, Nova just doesn't want to even have to deal with it. Smart ban away, and now Rogue, they have to put some thought into this one because obviously the Kroll is available. They may want the Kroll for themselves, but Nova could just take that away from them. It's a kind of a difficult spot to be in, but they're going to ban the Celeste. They do choose to take away something from Truth, but again, he does still have that Idris available if they want to go that route.
I think it would be smart for Nova to pick up the Cruel here because generally you want to take it away from Pond the Original. Not only that, when Pond the Original goes up against Cruel, he likes to play Rhyme against it. That's his counterplay to it. Now that Rhyme is already banned, it would be a great pickup for Nova. The only thing is it would leave CP Idris open to be picked up for Rogue.
And with the Kroll into Idris isn't the greatest of times for a Kroll. It's very easy for an Idris to kite Kroll away, especially if he grabs a Frostburn in the kit somewhere. And so it's, again, now tough choice right back over to the side of Nova. Do you go for the Kroll? Do you go for something like the Black Feather? Instead, they're going to completely change it up and take a Samuel.
That could be a flex Samuel. I know Lone Delphi is extremely talented on this hero specifically. He's played it in the past many times when Samuel was more meta, but we have seen Samuel used in the lane in the North American side especially a little bit more this update. We saw Best Chuck use it with TSM yesterday. They did not win with it, but it's a hero that can work. The Celeste ban coming out of Rogue I think was a smart ban just because that's another hero that Truth can perform really well on and carry his team.
Well, there's going to be the Cruel coming on through that we talked about earlier. Pond loves to play that Cruel in the jungle, and he's going to be able to grab that for himself. And now Rogue have to finish out this draft, and we'll see what direction they want to go with when it comes to the carry.
Again, I want to see Hammy on these hyper carries, the late game carries. Scarf is exactly one of them, and can do rather well with this composition that they have lined up. Obviously, Samuel can get body blocked very easily by a Kroll and a Lance on the front line, so they need something on the side of Nova that can get past that front line and get the damage onto the Scarf.
Blackfeather has made it all the way through this draft. This is probably the furthest through a draft we've seen Blackfeather get all day, I think.
mean, North America just doesn't prioritize the Blackfeather pick as much as Europe. The Scarf Cruel Lance composition, although is extremely strong, it does lack on the front of sieging when Scarf is not yet scaled up. But once he does, they're going to have so much sieging potential where they can take down the turrets very easily, especially with the Cruel coming up to the lane and trying to get a pick or two if they catch Truth out of position, which generally doesn't happen very easily, but if they do and get a kill, they can snowball off of it, and the Vox comes out too for Truth.
My big concern here is there is very little CC other than the actual gauntlet itself to stop a Dragon's Breath out of this Scarf. Hammy, if he can get in a good position, if he can build up his stacks, he's going to tear through health bars.
Yeah, there's also the fact that they don't have a great way to get onto the Scarf in the first place. Like, you're not going to be able to get past the Kroll and Lance with your damage on the Samuel. Vox, if you try and go flying on through, they're just going to turn to you and take you down on your way to the Scarf. So it's a tough composition to execute for the side of Nova.
All right, well, it's time to get into game number 2 of this series. We'll see whether Rogue can pull themselves back in or if Nova are looking for their second 2-0 of the week. Hashtag Vainglory8. Let's pass it back to Humanist and Sean Ostino.
Hashtag Munchables is the man. The battle has begun. We have Rogue versus Nova here. And I gotta say, Sean, this feels like, to me, that the Vox is a little better suited in this game than Game 1.
I feel like he is. He's going to be able to use those Sonic Zooms to reposition himself, especially when it comes to a Cruel, maybe trying to jump on him, jump on the back line, the semi-back line. We actually see a sharpshooter coming out for Truth there, and it looks like the two carries are rotating through the jungle together, and Eco frontlining a little bit.
Eco trying to make the plays, but he was rooted up there. Couldn't Vanguard, but he had boots as well as his healing flask, so he can really afford to play those games. So both the carry, the jungler, are able to take the back rotation, but this means Pawn's taking his whole rotation by himself.
Yeah, he is, which is it's pretty good. We're gonna need to see that Cruel get up there in his levels to especially get that level 6 power spike to have that from Hell's Heart come out.
Looks for the impale. Nice dodge by Truth. And Truth gets the Vanguard as well, so he's doing just fine. You can see like a lot of compositions, you'd find that kill, but not against the Vox.
No, not against the Vox. And that's exactly what we were talking about just a minute ago, that if he's able to just Sonic Zoom and reposition away from those impales and these dives that are going to be coming out of Rogue, then Truth is going to be feeling pretty good in these games.
Truth feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good. Got paired up with Sean Ostino, watching Truth do a little dance, and another Sonic Zoom dodges the impale. Eagle sniffing that one out. He knew that he was porting in that top brush there. So these guys playing games, you can tell that, you know, they go head to head a lot. They're very predictive in their movements.
I wanted to point out that Hammy actually is holding a minion candy, so he's waiting for the right opportunity to use that to go ahead and push up this wave that's probably coming from right behind him, actually under this turret for the side of Nova. There's that minion candy that's going to allow him to port back and buy some extra items there. Picks up that heavy prism, it looks like, and he's got his goop now. He's going to be able to throw down some burning oil, burning midnight oil there.
Scarf burning the midnight oil. Yep, and it's pretty good, but once again, this is another set of abilities that Vox does pretty well with. You know, like the worst thing is that if Hammy can predict where a Sonic Zoom is going to go and drop the goop and ignite it there, but oftentimes Truth will be able to get himself out. He's just constantly trying to predict and avoid Spitfires in the lane here, and it's going to be so incredibly important to him. Hammy's here being protected by Evil with the Impale. As Eco drops down into the jungle. Pawn's fighting over the Elder Treant right now, and he'll be able to grab it, as Lone Delphi definitely was attempting to take that. Eco taking so much damage. Hammy actually dropping down now. He's going to force the healing flask down out towards the west. Delphi gets his backs. Oh no, Delphi was trying to take the back away from Pawn. Pawn was able to secure it himself. Delphi's kind of in a bad place now. You would expect that Evil will drop down from the lane, and there he is. He walks right into the Impale. Pawn's there as well. Delphi, I'm sorry, my friend, but you're dead. First blood coming through.
I am sorry, Lone Delphi, but you were in just a bad position right there, my friend. The thing about Samuel is that if he's not in his Drifting Dark, he's not going to be able to kite around fights very well, and looks like Pawn was going in right there. But yeah, Lone Delphi, he's not the best at repositioning, not like Vox is. So getting caught out by that Impale was a really bad thing for him.
Yeah, that was a really bad thing. And a lot of times players can kind of, sense that coming, but I guess he had no idea where the Lance was dropping down from. Made it almost too easy. The jungle will intensify here, Sean. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that.
It has intensified. Hammy's actually sitting on about 1,400 gold. We see Pawn the original at 1,800, 1,900 now. He's going to be able to hit a pretty good power spike once he gets back and purchases some items. I could see him going for maybe a tension bow. Evil goes in.
Impale. 3-man, get them all, Evil. Who are you? Oh my goodness, Hammy. We'll be able to get back. Evil pays for it. Pawn, he's locked onto Truth here. He's going to stay on him, try to activate the Spectral Smite right at the end. Drops 272 coming through. And not enough damage to find the kill. Hammy's sticking around. He's got a lot of gold to spend. Pawn, so much gold. Over 2,000 gold like you just mentioned. So these guys, I mean, they already had a great engagement and found a kill. They're going to be that much stronger.
They're going to be that much stronger. Pawn the original going a little bit low, but it looks like those Mouse and Vertex are coming up, but they're not going to quite connect.
Delphi, almost just with the tip catching him for the kill there. And Delphi, really, he is a great Samuel.
He is a great Samuel. I just like to see him clean up his gameplay a little bit. He's going to be hitting that level 6 power spike pretty soon. Get himself that
the
Oblivion.
Impale Truth with Sonic's going to get the wall coming out of Evil. They got the kill, Hammy, landing the Spitfire damage and the basic attack. Nice plays.
Yeah, nice plays. Pawn the Original is going to have to frontline much better for his team here. I really know that he plays a wicked Cruel. So if he's able to get some really good utility out of this Cruel, throw down some boomerangs that can stun up the members of Nova really well, we're going to see some good plays later on.
You know, one of the things I'm seeing out of Delphi that I like so much with his Samuel is that he's always proccing the Corrupted Genius off an opponent, and never off of minions, like when he has the opportunity, or jungle monsters, and he gets so much sustain out of that. Like, he constantly has energy to be throwing the Drifting Darks and the Mousenberg.
That's right, and that is one of the hero perks that Samuel does have. Works out pretty well for him for the sustain, especially since we've had a lot of sustain nerfs in 2.8 patch.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We do see an Eve of Harvest on Hammy now, so that's going to allow for some better sustain and energy regen on this Scarf. It's interesting that he opted for it first, as opposed to getting one of the other items like Shatterglass or a Broken Myth, or even a Frostburn.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I mean, we saw him low energy, just trying to hold the waves off. Even, you know, he didn't have to go purchase items necessarily. He had the wave clear, but he didn't have the energy to sustain it. So we'll see how this is going to play out here. Nova trying to make their way up to the lanes. Like, I felt like Rogue had them actually kind of pincered off, but they let them up.
Yeah, they did let them up. We do see a Tension Bow on Pawn the Original. He's going to be getting a lot of burst damage coming out.
Dead Man's Rush onto Delphi. He's going to proc it. The Impale catches with Evil. A nice 3-man get through. Wall of Silence comes out the other way. Oblivion as well. Doesn't land. Rogue are able to get out of that one with the help of the Fountain from Evil. Do they know that Pawn's actually still there? Oh, 3-man Brew! To get the 3-man get the wall. This guy's just padding stats. I hope you guys got him on your, I don't know, what are your team you're doing? I'm mind blank. Doesn't matter. Just godly. Evil is playing like a god.
Yeah, he's playing like a god. Lone Delphi got melted down by that Dragon's Breath right there. Really well done. Nice. It was pretty obvious that was being channeled, but the good thing about Scarf is he gets that fortified health right before he, right when he's channeling, so it's able to sustain him for a little bit longer. That gold mine is going over to the side of Rogue.
Immense gold payout collected.
That's what I meant to say in the moment. A nice gold payout here coming through. Rogue really looking good, probably feeling pretty good here in this series. Of course, with Nova taking game one like that, you'd expect Rogue to come back strong. They're performing. Do you expect them to keep this momentum moving forward?
I expect them to keep this momentum because Pawn the Original is on this Cruel. If I have learned anything in the last several weeks of casting, it's that Pawn the Original and Cruel is a recipe for godlike play.
Okay. What is it about his play that makes you feel that way?
He's got such good utility. He's able to throw out these from Hell's Hearts, especially when he's got them in them to engage in the team fights and really just have them boomerang back, stun up one of the members of the enemy team for so long, and that which makes one of the best engages that you could ever see.
Nice impale. Pawn's there. He's going to proc that Tension Bow off on Delphi. Delphi should be fine if he just gets Corrupted Genius off, hangs around. Evil has been so on point with these impales and getting walls. Now, combat roll forward. Oh, he had an opportunity there as well. Look at them just sitting in that choke point. They're like, here, just hit us with your area of effect abilities right here. We're ready to be stunned.
Yeah, it's not a good idea for them to hang out in this this choke point in the mustache bush because we can just have some burning goop placed down right underneath them.
You got to be so careful with your positioning here. Pawn. Getting him powered up in the brush here. Spitfire's just raining down. Delphi moves forward in the Drifting Dark. Pawn's got good positioning. Ooh, he might move forward here. Yeah, he does. Lone Delphi's getting love of Oblivion right underneath their feet here. Not enough, but from Hell's Heart and the Dragon's Breath is going to roast Truth down. A Gauntlet's going to come out very defensively trying to peel for Truth. Really, it's just holding Rogue back. They don't want to get in any deeper. I think they're going to be just happy enough to settle for the turret here.
Yeah, they are. And there goes the turret. Ooh, very well done by Hammy. We know these Scarfs. They can just take down objectives so quickly, and there goes that first turret. The first turret does have a little bit lower HP now compared to previous updates, so it is going to fall sooner. It's going to give out a little bit less of a gold payout, but still nonetheless, that gives up objective control over to the side of Rogue now, and that's going to open up this lane, open up the jungle to more invades from the top as well.
All right, well, Truth needs that Spitfire Goop combo as he drops down to the shop. He's got Tornado Trigger up and ready to go. This is his second one, and we've seen this build happening time and time again. I like it most with the Fortress myself, but here in this composition, it makes sense to you?
We saw a double tornado trigger on that weapon-powered pedal yesterday. I wonder how it's going to pan out for Vox here, but if he can get off a lot of these basic attacks with these resonances, then he could do some serious damage, especially on Hammy, the squishy member of Rogue.
Hammy's done really well with his positioning thus far, 2-0-2. I think a lot of credit to Hammy. He's also farming well in this game. Impale actually down Eco, getting caught out here. Eco's taking a lot of damage from Hell's Heart connects. He wasn't able to block it as well. You're in a bad place. He's chopped down. Oh no, Eco giving one for free.
What was he doing there by himself? He's got to be really careful. They got to be able to maintain vision control of what's going on. If 3 members of Rogue are rotating together, there's got to be some scout traps down there in the tri-bushes, in the jungle shop. Let's go ahead and take a look at the replay. So we actually saw he just got rooted there by that impale. There was nowhere for him to go. He got stunned up by that from Hell's Heart. Down came the goop. The Spectral Smite finished him off. Really good play, quick combos coming out of Rogue, and they were able to take that gold mine virtually free.
Oh my god. I mean, they get the kill, they get the gold mine essentially for free. Nova can't afford to be making these mistakes right here, right now. Evil getting forward vision down, moving that vision line forward. And I really like to see that once you start to build an advantage on the map. Now, Rogue are grouped up as 3. You can tell that they're ready to go. They have infusions on the jungle and carry. A nice flare comes out of Eco, so they're not going to get caught by surprise. But at this point, you got to be so careful. This is 3 items on Hammy. So while he's not ramping up that Broken Myth right now, he's still putting out consistent and strong damage.
Yeah, consistent and strong damage. And I'm interested to see if he could actually sell off. Oh, he actually did. He sold off one of his defensive items right there. Picked a piercing shard. He's going to be working towards that Broken Myth. He knows that they're ahead right now. He can afford to go more offensively on this Scarf. So once he gets into these fights and he starts landing those abilities, he's going to be able to ramp up these Broken Myth stacks so much, and that's just going to increase the insane damage coming out of this Scarf.
Yeah, those big Dragon's Breath once he's stacked up. My question that I'm looking at, I'm very curious. Pawn, he's sitting, oh, there you go, never mind. He just bought his Aegis. He had like 1,800 gold saved up there, so I was wondering if he was just going to finish that or move on somewhere else. Now Pawn moves up from the bottom, from Hell's Heart. Swing and a miss. Strike 1.
Boomerang does not connect.
Not going to connect. All right, Impale's not going to miss as well. Rogue. Rogue. Maybe they're trying to debate Nova in by missing a couple abilities here. Now Rogue being slowed up. Evil pops that healing flask so he can continue to frontline for his team. You can tell Rogue definitely ready to fight, but they probably peel off of this one. Their infusions are timing out.
Their infusions are timing out. We see that level 9 infusion going down for Hammy. He could pick up another one. He's got a lot of gold that he has sitting in his pocket there, but it looks like they're turning their attention to the gold miner.
Gold payout collected.
Yeah, decent gold payout coming through here. There's your Broken Myth. Hammy, a real threat. And you know, I think it's one thing, Sean, when you hit your power spike and you're like, okay, we're ready to fight. It's another thing when you hit your power spike and you got boots active. So they're gonna rotate through here. He's gonna get his infusion, have his boots ready to go, and be at full power spike. He's completely ready.
That's what's really important, Humanist. You can hit your power spikes, you can buy the right items, but you have to be able to capitalize on it. And if they can capitalize on getting infusions, getting these power spikes before the enemy team does, then they're going to be able to win these fights a lot easier. Eco throwing out some vision there. Popping vision, too.
Yeah, this is the game of vision right now. Eco, he's holding his own. I'll say, I think Evil's winning a little bit in that battle thus far, but back and forth flares are going to come out. Nova's been revealed. Let's see how they're going to play this. You know, Eco has this gauntlet, and I'd like to see them play it a little more aggressively. Now, he gets the Vanguard onto Truth. Truth just starts to apply damage onto Evil. Big damage coming out. Nice block on the From Hell's Heart. Delphi, a defensive drifting Dark. You can see how Delphi was kind of predicting that fight might play out there. It's enough, though, for Nova to go ahead and cancel off the aggression.
Very good reflex block coming out of Truth right there. If he had gotten hit by that From Hell's Heart, that would have been Pon the Original all over him, reducing the damage he was doing with those weakness stacks, and they would have blew him up. But it looks like he's opting to just remain with that reflex block and maybe even pick up an Aegis to reduce the damage coming out of that Scarf. And that's going to be great for him to be able to continue to block these From Hell's Hearts.
Yeah, it really will be. I mean, honestly, at this point, these fights could go either way. They're Nova down in net worth, but Truth with a breaking point. That is a scary thing. As long as he gets a nice Vanguard, maybe he's able to block an Atlas or something like that. These guys should apply a lot of damage. It's all about, can he stay out of Hammy's Spitfire and Goop?
Yeah, he's got to still position very, very well. He's only had 1 death so far compared to the rest of his teammates. But I would like to see him actually... Oh!
War Treads, Vanguard over the wall from downtown. Gets him.
Yeah, I would actually like to see Truth sell off one of those tornado triggers. Maybe opt for a Sora Blade to get more flat damage in there. So that he can ramp up the damage even better. And looks like there's some aggression here.
All right, Evil over the wall. 2-man Githing Wall. It actually catches on that dead turret. Now Gauntlet is out from Hell's Heart's going to connect onto Truth, but a Gauntlet still zoning, and Pawn walks around the side. He's got the damage. Dragon's Breath being wound up. Truth, can they burn him down? Yes, they can. Sonic zooming his heart off, but it wasn't enough, and Hammy dropping low. Lone Delphi does not want to commit just yet. 4 seconds for a Drifting Dark. If he finds the positioning, he might go for it. 9 broken mist stacks at this point. There's the Drifting Dark. He needs Corrupted Genius as well. And he's just gonna play this one safe. Yeah, you can't blame him for that one.
That was a really cool team fight, even though it didn't end up in a lot of kills for the teams. We actually saw Truth going down very quickly after he was hit by that from Hell's Heart. And good positioning coming out upon the original. He actually went around the Gauntlet, not getting stunned up by it, and took Truth down.
Yeah, it was actually pretty funny. He was just tracing the Gauntlet, running around the top left side of that thing there. But Rogue, they're going to go ahead and take the Kraken here, so this will be marching forward. And, of course, you know, with the Scarf, so incredibly good at pushing behind this Kraken.
Oh yeah, and they've actually got to be really careful here. We see so many teams end up getting the Kraken, and they're not able to play it low and slow, right? So they end up just... They end up just losing the team fights around the Kraken. If they can just play around the Kraken, let her do some of her work, and then wait for Nova to make a mistake, push too far forward, they could be able to take this and maybe even end the game right here.
Well, Nova waiting on that Gauntlet. It's only a couple seconds off. At this point, they're going to start to just chip onto the Kraken. And I think this is a smart play. Now, Truth's rooted up from Hell's Heart, blocked off. Very good job. Wait for it, does come out here, but Hammy's already built up a couple broken mist stacks of his own. Oblivion's out. The Gauntlet as well, just zoning Nova. Very focused on this Kraken. Now Dragon's Breath from Hammy as he winds up moving forward, burning Nova down, doing a good job, but he peels back. Pawn's on the front side now. Pawn taking a lot of damage. The chase is on. Truth moving forward. Truth has got to avoid the Spitfires. Kraken takes down the choke point for it. Both these teams are trading so incredibly well right now. You can tell this fight is on just a knife's edge from going either way. Now Evil finds a stun. Spitfire from over the wall. 508 damage. It's good. Oh, the Vanguard's not enough. Nova lose Lone Delphi. They'll be able to take the Kraken down, but man, Rogue were really nice in juggling that whole damage there.
Very well done with the echo of the Githian wall, double Githian wall onto Lone Delphi. Stunned him up for so long, he had nowhere to go. And down he went, okay? But thankfully, with the distraction of them going after him, let's go ahead and take a look at the replay there. So they were actually pushing with the Kraken right here. And... okay, never mind. Let's go ahead and throw it back to the fight.
Yeah, Pawn actually able to find the kill there. And that's just Truth. A little bit overstepping himself one more time. I feel like Truth is just overconfident. The word.
He's got to sell off one of those Sorrow Blades. There, Humanist. He's just not doing enough damage here. He's able to ramp up the damage with those breaking point stacks, sure, but it's just not the best situation for him right now. Let's go ahead and take a look at the replay again. So we actually saw Spitfires connecting really well, taking Truth and Low Delphi down, chunking damage. Good block on that from Hell's Heart, and the Drifting Dark comes out, and this is where the team fight went kind of wrong. Sure, they were able to zone out the remainder of Rogue with that Gauntlet, but I don't think they capitalized it. They weren't able to do enough damage, and then we just had Rogue come in through that choke point. They weren't scared, and with the double Githian wall that we actually get to see later on, that's where they were able to take out Lone Delphi. And now the base is broken, the choke point turret is down. We only have 2 crystal turrets remaining for the side of Nova.
Oh man, tough place to be in, but I believe in Nova. At this point, Truth has fresh weapon infusion ready to go. Eco's infused. Delphi, yeah, he's got one in his pocket as well. So Maybe a decent fight here can make it happen now. Eco getting lit up. Eco, if you you saw that getting welcome in the front Hell's Heart as well. Eco, no, the Gauntlet comes out. It's maybe potentially split Rogue. This is an opportunity for Nova. They turned it up. Delphi's applying the damage and the drifting dart, the balance, and they turned it. Evil's down, unbelievable. They've done it, Sean. Now they're gonna be looking for more. Who will it be? A Sonic Zoom from Truth. Avoiding the Spitfires, doesn't want to stand in that goop. It looks like they're going to be happy just to be able to take that one for right now. Dragon's Breath, Hammy, almost canceling off the teleport. That would have been a kill for sure.
That would have been a kill for sure. We had 6 broken mid stacks out on Hammy. He would have just melted through Lone Delphi right there. But as you know, you don't want to lose a team fight during the Kraken. And the Kraken is up right now getting melted by Pawn the Original and Hammy.
Nova. What's the play, Rogue? What you gonna do? Drifting Dart comes out. Pawn's able to steal it. Pawn, the original, the Kroll God. Now, can he get himself out of here is the question. Hammy trying to apply damage, but you're in a tricky place here. Hammy even gets his own mid. Nova's gonna let go. They're gonna draw back, of course, for the Kraken. They can't afford to chase here, get kited out by any means. Another win for Rogue.
Another win. This is what you gotta do late game. You gotta control the objectives. And in the late game, the objectives are taking the turrets and taking the Kraken. That's all you can do. Everybody's pretty much at full build here. Nova is just gonna have to keep kiting this Kraken, and Rogue needs to play carefully here. They're doing a really good job now. They're up 8,000, almost 8,000 gold here. And we have them at 9-2 kills at 21 minutes in. I feel like if they just play it really well here, get some more weakness stacks off, throw down some more of those from Hell's Hearts, it's available, they're going to be able to win this game.
Let's see, Gauntlet's down, first aggressive play actually happening. Pawn dropping low, the Fountain's out, Pawn stays alive, Oblivion comes over the top side, Pawn goes down to the Battle Subvert from Lone Delphi. They're on the chase now, Hammy dropping Spitfires and Goops as he backs off. Evil tries to buy enough time, enough for Hammy to get out of there. But this is going to be Nova dropping back to take down the Kraken, keep that last turret on a sliver of health here. Nova are still in this game.
They are still in this game. I'm actually astounded that they were able to repel these attacks, but it looks like Rogue just overextended, and that overextension for the Kraken push is what cost them 2 of the members of their team.
Such a good fight happening here between both of these squads. You know, I didn't expect Nova to necessarily just run over this series, but sometimes, like, through the performance in Game 1, I was like, okay, this Nova squad looks really good. Truth gets the Vanguard. Hammy's in a bad place. Breaking Point stacking up. Hammy's gonna go down as Truth chases them behind 2 turrets there.
Wow.
Man! This is the kind of wild card you have with Truth on this team. Like, sometimes it feels like you're safe, but you're not.
Wow, is this game gonna swing the other way, Humanist? We have ace buff minions here pushing under this turret. They're gonna be able to take this turret. Oh, good block.
Yeah, block from Hell's Heart coming out there. A nice job. And Nova will stay as 3. Interesting coming out here. Just kind of impale attempts to lock Nova down, potentially delay their tactics. At this point, Nova will drop down towards that Crystal Sentry. And I think Rogue probably really wait until they're at full strength with the Scarf to really make a play.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the replay, Humanist. So we see here that Truth was actually coming in. He Sonic zooms in, gets a Vanguard as well, so he's able to take these turret shots very, very well with that fortified health. Takes down the Scarf, and he's able to egress and get right in between the turrets, so he takes no damage.
Nice plays indeed. Now, we are 23.5 minutes in. Rogue are up 9-5. Got a small net worth lead. Evil moves down. Nice job to engage this fight from Hell's Heart. It's going to come down the impale. Dragon's Breath as well, but Oblivion down on the top side. Hammy, it's blocked off. Rogue are on the chase. They're burning them down. Truth will go down first. That's not what you needed, Nova. You needed to keep the Vox alive. Let's build the breaking point stacks. Eagle will be able to teleport out from the shot brush down there, but this is going to be Kraken going the way of Rogue, barring a miracle, right?
This is going to be Kraken going to Rogue on the leash with only 1 crystal turret remaining. This looks like it's Rogue's game right here, unless they can contest. They can steal, yeah,
sure. They gotta steal it. Isn't this? This is going to be GG. It's going to be GG. They got to get in their pawns. Going to look to activate the Spectral Might. Yeah, he's got it. Hammy secures that. Now, this is going to be Lone Delphi getting stunned up with Eco. 2-man getting walled. The 2-man impale coming through. Evil playing like an absolute god from Hell's Heart. Connects onto Eco. Gets stunned back. There's nowhere to go. Rogue are at your door. They're going to tie this series up 1-1.
they're going to be knocking on that crystal just in a quick minute, and they don't even need the Kraken. She's way too back there, Humanist. This was an excellent game coming out upon the original Hammy and Evil with those godlike impales and Githian walls echoed. Well played by Rogue.
So well played. I mean, Evil making a case as like one of the best captains in North America definitely right now with his performance. I look sometimes and I'm like, wait, no, Gabe's not in this game. That was Evil making the plays. I don't know how. I'm hoping Bacon was counting how many 3-man Githian walls this man got this game, but we'll see. Munchables, analysts, take it away.
Back at the desk and we're ready to break that game down. Evil went Super Saiyan that game, and both carries as well, the jungle and the carry, doing an excellent job of managing to kind of pull things out and really make things work for the team. But honestly, after game 1, I was not expecting Rogue to be able to step up to that same level that they just did.
Yeah, I mean, apparently Lance is a must-ban in this series because it seems like whoever gets this hero ends up just making plays.
I mean, we mentioned that during the draft. We said whoever is going to be able to get Lance is going to be able to make such huge plays. Evil and Eco both are incredibly mechanically skilled players on this hero specifically. Evil gets it this time around, and he's able to make such huge plays for his team that honestly carry on to winning the game.
All right, let's take a look at our first replay. It's around 4 minutes and 20 seconds into the game. This was some of the early trades that were going on in this game.
Yeah, and you can see right away the aggressive moves from Rogue. A big 3-man impale into the Githian wall. That was without Pon being the one who makes the engage. Usually you want to see this Krull be the one that makes the first move, but that was Evil just showing that he was not afraid to be aggressive. He was more than willing to be the one that started these fights off.
Yeah, managing to land it onto 3 members simultaneously is always incredibly impressive. The next replay is around 17 minutes and 35 seconds, or just 17 minutes, and this is when Rogue got their first Kraken and started pushing.
Right, Rogue got their first Kraken, and now they're trying to siege, take 1 turret at a time. But Nova still had 4 turrets down, so it was expected from Rogue to not be able to close out the game. They get really good poke in. The block coming out from Eco to stop the Hell's Heart from landing onto Vox, a beautiful Crucible. Rogue back away a little bit, continue on to poke, and this is when the play happens. They try to engage and get closer, and at this point, Nova drops so low. Pon the original almost dies, and because Vox already has his double TT, his tension bow, his breaking point, a very off-meta build, but is working really well for Truth and Vox. And then they re-engage with the Samuel. The Kithian wall right here, so beautiful, and they close out with the Echo Kithian wall on top of the Spitfire and the Coop to get the kill on Samuel.
Yeah, and I really love the fact that when they have that Scarf ultimate channeled, they use the War Treads and the Journey Boot simultaneously. So Scarf just gets this massive movement speed buff going in with that ultimate to make sure that they can get it connecting onto all 3 members of the opposition.
And even though that Kraken continued to push at that point, Nova didn't give up just yet. They could keep on going, and they managed to get an ace just a few minutes later into the fight.
And this was just so close to kind of going the other way. Nova able to chase down Hammy, find this kill underneath the turrets, but it really kind of felt like maybe Nova was going to have a chance to come back in this game and turn it completely around.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nova so close to doing exactly that, but Rogue managed to take it in the end. Let's take a look at the final moments of that game as Rogue finished off this Kraken, and there was the desperation attempt here from Nova, but it was too little too late.
And great call by the side of Rogue to just forget about the Kraken and say, don't even worry about it. Let's just go take this team fight, and then we can just finish things off. It was, I mean, it looked like they were going to stick around and, you know, make sure that all 3 members are there to ensure the Kraken is secured, but they're just like, you know what, we can just take it easily, go get the team fight started first, and then finish it off.
Yeah, there's only 2 members up, so we can go 2v2, and the Kraken can be finished off by guy number 3. And that meant that Rogue were able to take the game in the end, which means we're going to a 3rd game in the first series of the day. Both teams have taken a fairly convincing victory for themselves, and that means that going into game 3, we could see a bit of a repeat from game 1 in terms of draft, but we'll have to see what happens.
And we see the last show up again. This time first picked by Nova, giving it to Eco most likely. It still can be flex for them just because they have Lone Delphi in the jungle, but I would love to see Eco using that hero. It's just been such a contested pick throughout this series, and it continues to be.
Yeah, I mean, when you can land 3-man impales and follow up with the Githyan Wall, it's always going to be incredibly strong. Pon the original, grabbing that Rhyme very early on into the draft. This is what we saw in draft number 1, and it did not work well for Rogue.
However, in draft number 1, Nova had the Kestrel. So Rogue, feeling like Kestrel was the catalyst, was the linchpin for Nova to win that game. And without the Kestrel on the board, they feel like they're going to be able to take this. They also get the Jewel, which was banned from them in game number 1. So this is Rogue going to be very happy with this draft thus far.
This Jewel is starting to become a significant comfort pick for Hammy. We've seen him pick it up a few times now in the season already.
Yeah, I mean, and the composition with Jewel in the lane, weapon power with Rhyme in the jungle, we saw it come out from Rogue in the first weekend, and they won with it. So again, we're going to see it against Nova. There's going to be a lot of pressure coming out both on the lane and on the jungle, just because these heroes can outdo their counterparts in those roles. And so Rogue is going to be able to play what they know how to play. They love playing aggressive, snowballing slowly and closing out the game later on. This is a composition that can do exactly that.
Now Nova have to answer to this one. The double melee coming out. We'll see what their response is. Celeste, a very solid pick, something we've seen a lot of over the course of this season so far. It's got that lance to protect it, and now we'll see what Delphi is going to pick up in this final role.
Yeah, you want to see Delphi get something that can do a little bit of dueling, I think, because right now it's just if Jewel gets onto the backline, gets onto the Celeste, Celeste's just going to get deleted, and Rhyme is going to be able to just be this durable, beefy kind of mage in the jungle, and they don't have anything to really match that. And it's for Nova, they have a bit of burst, they have that late game power in the Celeste, but if they can't find control, they're going to take the Arden, which means they are going to have that Lance be in the jungle. So it is that and not so much a duelist, but a little bit of that bruiser type style to complement the rest of this composition.
And it's going to be able to provide a lot of protection for Celeste, both with the Githyan Walls, the Impales, and now they have the Vanguards and the Gauntlet landing from the Arden pick for Eco. I mentioned earlier that it can be flexed, and they do choose to go for the flex. The only thing about it is that Rhyme can shut down the Lance early on just because it's a melee matchup, although Lance has a little bit of range even though he's melee, so it can be outplayed, and Delphi can hold off against Spawn if he uses that bit of range advantage that he has, and then Githyan walls Rhyme away whenever he gets closer. The last pick coming out of Rogue, they don't have too many options, but Grace is still open. That would be a great pickup for them since they want to dive on Celeste and try to finish her off. Let's see if they go for it.
Also, something like a Lyra could be great going into an Arden, gets the portal on in, gets you that hard engage, but also you can dodge that gauntlet coming on out. They are going to go with the Lyra in the end, so this is a very aggressive composition coming out from Rogue. They are going to want to dive very deep, and a lot of pressure on the shoulders of Truth here to carry on this Celeste.
Yeah, this is something that Nova has done before, have put their eggs in this Truth basket, similar to like a G2 with Hundor, but Truth is one of these players that can step up to that task just like Hundor does in Europe.
I certainly can. What are you expecting to see here, Zara?
I really think it can go either way. Rogue getting the composition that they've played before and know how to execute is really good for them. It's playing to their strengths. At the same time, though, Nova has a really strong composition that's built around Truth, which is another really good strategy that works for them. It can go either way.
All right, we'll see which way it is going to go. We want to know where you think this one's going to go as well. Hashtag Vainglory8. Let us know whether you believe in Nova or if you want Rogue to take this one. It's game number 3. It's time to get onto the map, and it's time to pass it back to Humanist and Sean Ostino.
Well, thank you very much, Munchables, and that's right. We've got game 3, Nova versus Rogue here. And Sean Ostino, I'm looking at this one, and I'm thinking hashtag Rogue.
Hashtag Rogue, I don't know. It could be a hashtag Rogue because we do have that Jewel who's super strong. Once she gets to her late game power, or level 8 power spike, she's going to be able to crit off those Thunderstrikes. We've been talking about that a lot, Humanist. And she's just such a strong character, especially with her heroic perk, that heavy plating that she's got. And if we look over here at the side of Nova, they have a very specific win condition, which is they've got to protect Truth. Truth has got to blow up the other team with those Heliogenesis Supernovas in, and her ultimates as well.
Well, you know, the thing that's kind of crazy here, and Delphi typically usually builds pretty substantial weapon power. Now, we're going to have to really keep our eyes on this Lance. He can have a huge impact. I would expect a couple double kills to come out of Lone Delphi by the time this game's over. Thunderstrike hits onto 2. Nova respecting the damage from Rogue. Rogue are going to go ahead and reposition into their Tri-Brush. This is a game of Elder Treants now. Let's see how this is going to play out. Thunderstrikes come through. This is actually going to go the way of Nova. Lone Delphi able to pick that one up. So it's going to be great for Nova. They alt board back, immediately just going to grab one item real quick and get back out onto the map.
Yeah, and Lone Duffy actually picked up some pretty good items there. He's got himself some 1 boots. He's got that 6 sins. He's going to be able to do some more damage out there in the jungle. Very smart for this Lance. If he lands some impales, Githian walls, that's really going to help to stun up the members of Rogue.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if he can get a good one off as well, like, it's really troll when Hammy jumps forward and gets Githian wall stunned. And, yeah, it can feel pretty much useless at this point. But the thing is, we were talking about it, there is so much control and burst potential. If they can get onto Truth, maybe an Arcane Passage, whatever, Hammy will be able to burst the Celeste down.
Yeah, I like what you said, actually, about this Lance that Lone Delphi has. Because he has that Githian wall, he will be able to get rid of those rocket leaps coming out of Hammy.
They're fighting with the Elder Treant. Pawn's able to secure that one with Winter Spire. They're now moving forward. Rocket Leap down. Truth dropping low. Truth should die here. The hit blast almost keeping him alive. Now Eco splits down to the south as Lone Delphi goes to the north side of this wall here. Kind of splitting Rogue as they hesitate for a second and maybe buying them enough time to actually get back here and get their full backs. Yes, they're able to get those. So a nice job by Nova.
Yeah, nice job by Nova. We actually see the Heavy Prison coming out of Truth. And I like how they're rotating together. Nova doesn't want to get caught out here, and they know they need to protect the Celeste. So good job for them. A little bit of poke going on here onto Evil.
Yeah, a little bit of poke happening up at the lane, but down in the jungle. Over the wall, Lone Delphi. Too late, bud. Pawn has got your mid. Now Pawn's going to take your fronts as well. Lone Delphi basically has to have really good timing here, or think about just switching up his rotation entirely, because Pawn's just about 1 step ahead here, especially with Evil rotating down, and he had complete control over the Elder Treant if he wanted to go for it, but he's going to let that one go.
You know, the jungle clear can be both quick for Lone Delphi and Pawn the Original, but Pawn the Original is just so aggressive right now, and you wouldn't expect this kind of movement speed to be coming out of Rhyme.
The Elder Treant. Delphi's getting completely trolled out here the whole time. Eco drops that Protector Contract as Pawn just sitting here. He's almost level 10 at 3 minutes. Just kidding, level 5. But he has incredible leveling in this part. Now, man, if he had walked forward, he would have been able to steal the backsway. Delphi will get his backs one more time, so at least Delphi's getting those.
Yeah, he had Winter Spire available to him at that moment too. They actually just left the back regen camp there, and oh man, Pawn the Original just stealing away these jungle camps from under
Pawn is
Delphi.
Absolutely 1 step ahead. Delphi, he's in Delphi's head so deep. Delphi missing the impale from the thick part of the wall right there, and Pawn is going to be getting this level 6 incredibly quickly this game.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be going for Shattered Glass there. He actually picked up an extra Crystal Bit just for some more of that CP damage. He hit that level 6 Power Spike, so he's got that Valkyrie available for him. We see Eve of Harvest actually picked up for Truth as well. Good Power Spike for her. Not the clockwork, you know, that we're going to be able to see with that energy, regen, and sustain. But this is going to help her sustain a little bit better in lane.
This is pretty crazy. Hammy doesn't even have boots. He's just Sorrow Blade, Book of Eulogies. He's like, I'm going to last hit, I'm going to sustain. If you do any damage, Evil will throw a sigil for me. Give me that move speed and healing that I crave. I mean, honestly, Hammy just apparently doesn't feel threatened at all.
No, pretty smart, man. What we see from Hammy riding in on this Crimson Horse, she's just going to be able to do so much damage to this Jewel here. I'm liking what I'm seeing, and I really am anticipating that level 8 Power Spike.
Delphi lands an Impale onto Pawn. Pawn's going to go ahead and move himself back here. Nice sigil down, of course, from Evil to get him out of a bad situation. Evil going for the Crucible first. There's no surprise here. Players do have their preferences, but do you like it in this game?
I like it in this game because we do have a lot of CC coming out from that Lance, that Lone Delphi Lance, and if someone is getting impaled upon, activate that Crucible, the members of Rogue are going to be able to walk away from it a little bit easier.
A little bit easier indeed. And of course, Pawn also sitting on 1,500 gold at this point. You imagine he's probably going to look to shop here pretty soon. He can do whatever he wants. We've seen our Rhymes go a whole bunch of different ways in their builds. A lot of them, Shatterglass, Eve of Harvest, those kind of builds, but I wouldn't expect him to get too crazy with it.
No, I wouldn't. I'm actually looking at some of the meta builds here for Rhyme. We could actually expect maybe he picked up the Shatterglass. Eve of Harvest would be good too. Broken Myth's going to be able to have him ramp up a lot of those Broken Myth stacks, a lot of damage. But once he gets into those fights, he's going to be able to sustain so well, nevertheless, because he has that fortified health built into his kit.
I like Hammy rocket leaping into the lane, making sure he gets his last hits there. Truth thought he had shoved the lane far enough forward where he maybe even could get some turret damage out here, but Hammy, nice awareness, nice positioning here now. I feel it's got to be a team fight happening at some point, right? Like, Pawn is ready to fight. Are they going to just wait for Hammy to hit his own power spikes, the level 8 that you talked about?
I think they very could be waiting for that. That's one of the big win conditions that I feel is here for the side of Rogue, because we do have him being the primary initiator, Hammy, on this duel. Once he gets that, he's already got big red button. He only needs one more level up, then he's going to be able to hit that power spike. They can really take advantage of it, do some serious crit damage, especially on Truth. They could go ahead and rocket leap in, stun Truth up, and it looks like there's an engage.
Yeah, Pawn used his reflex and his boots to get back. Look at the damage out on the Truth! Oh my goodness! Oh my weapon, Jewel mio mayo! Rockin' Ohio, Rogue come through with a burst damage, 3-0, 7 minutes in. They're probably gonna go for the turret as well. They just turned up.
Hello, my honey. That's exactly what they needed to do. They rocket leaped in, and now they're going to be able to take this turret. Taking out Lone Delphi and Truth was a smart thing to do.
Wow. The burst damage is real. Hammy's only level 7, and as he continues to build his weapon items and can crit on those thunder strikes, it's going to be good night Nova, good night Truth, if they cannot keep him alive now. This is contested gold miner. It does go the way of Rogue. Nice secure there. Rogue, I mean, they can't play you know, dangerous Vainglory here. But as long as they keep it together, they're doing really well.
Oh, big red button off the mark there. But yeah, really good plays coming out of Hammy here. We actually saw a few minutes ago, we had the gold pretty even, but now it's actually swung almost 3,000 in favor of Rogue.
It's a very big swing in resources and net worth for Rogue at this point. In a composition where they really like to be ahead here, you don't want Celeste to get into a comfortable position in this game. Hammy, now level 8, will be coming through with some crits potentially in these Thunder Strikes. Big damage. 2-0-1, 3,000 gold in his pocket. We'll see how he completes these items. I'd like to see them clear out that scout trap, though, down in that brush. The fact that that remains is kind of troll.
Yeah, we actually have scout traps in both the bushes for the jungle shop, and they're clearing that one out.
Portal in, there you go,
engage.
they're right on top. Oh, look at that core collapse, Truth! Predictive plays! Impossible core collapses coming out of Truth now. He'll start to go ahead and, 400 damage. Hello, this is my Thunder Strike. I'm Hammy, I'm here for your carry. Truth, trying to drop the Helios, but it's just not the same kind of damage that's coming out of this jewel.
It's not the same kind of damage. We have the Eve of Harvest, the Frostburn on the Celeste, but she needs to get more damage out of it. She's actually working towards potentially a Clockwork next, so that's going to allow her to spam those Heliogenesis even more throughout the fold. Better regen and better energy regen, rather. And that's going to help her out a lot. There's an engage. No, they back off.
I mean, honestly, yeah, it's going to help her sustain and control areas through the fight, but as long as Rogue sees an opening and they pull the trigger and move in as a unit, they will burst the Celeste down. It's all about coordination and execution right now. See the big red button coming through to clear out the lane wave from a very safe distance. A nice job. Another core collapse comes through on a Hammy Helio as well. Big damage, you can see. I mean, you have to respect the Helio damage coming out right now. But if Hammy gets on that Celeste, it's game over. Valkyrie comes down, clips just on the edge. Pawn doesn't find the stun, so there's no follow-up.
If Truth is able to use the core collapses in these team fights and just stun up Hammy, focus Hammy down, that's gonna be a win for the side of Nova right there. They just got to keep doing that. And we actually see Hammy is not building any defense at all, not even any shielding. That's not what we would expect coming out of this this weapon power jewel. There's that heavy plating. That's her heroic perk. She's going to be able to sustain a little bit better in these team fights because of that. She won't have to buy so much armor or shielding. But later on, we could see her sell off that healing flask and pick up either shielding or armor. I would expect shielding since we have that Celeste that Truth is holding to be the primary concern.
You know, I think a lot of these players deserve all the hype they get. I don't think Hammy gets enough of it, though. You know, he's consistently always making plays. I think he's positioning-wise great, mechanical ability. Solar Storm, almost coming through and grabbing that. It was really nice timing on that, but Rogue able to secure another gold miner.
Check out the build on Pawn the Original right now. He actually has a lot of shielding right now and a reflex block, so he's not able to get stunned up by those core collapses. He could use that. what he's doing right now feels to me like more of a utilitarian build on this Rhyme, so that he can just be the front line, absorbing a lot of the damage and using his DC with those chill winds to just stun up the members of Nova.
Pawn around the backside. He's going to be right on top of Truth. They throw the sigil forward. Hammy a little bit late to the party. He just switches over onto Lone Delphi. Lone Delphi gets bursted down. Now he's on Truth. 524 damage on that Thunder Strike. Good night, Nova. Rogue taking the ace. 6-0. We're not even 12 minutes in. Thunder striking Nova into oblivion.
Thunderstrike City, Humanist, and they took this turret. They're not going to go for the choke point one, but they're just going to go ahead and rotate through the jungle. Let's go ahead and take a look at a replay. So we actually saw, once that rocket leap came in, we had Lance go so low, 396 damage to the back, and the Valkyrie comes down, triple kill. Everybody's dead, and the healing and regen, thanks to that Lyra, was able to sustain them so well for the side of Rogue.
The element of surprise served them well. Look at Evil, one more time, not clearing out the scout trap down in that shot brush. Anybody watching, take note. That's a pretty efficient little scout trap right there. But yeah, Rogue definitely in the driver's seat here in this game. And if Pawn can just walk up right on top of Celeste, right on top of Truth, get all of his abilities off, I think they're going to win probably 9.5 out of 10 of those fights.
We have that scout trap down in there like you were talking about, Humanist. That may very well be the MVP right now for the side of Nova, because we don't see any kills on the board for them. But yeah, Hammy doing so much work here. 5-0-1 on this duel. He's got Sora Blade, Tornado Trigger, Tyrant's Monocle, so much crit and attack speed coming out of him. They're just gonna melt right through this gold miner.
Yep, Solar Storm comes on through. Feels not too bad, man, for Rogue. So they just tank that up. Truth's gonna have that one on cooldown, another 35 seconds or so. Rogue move forward, they take the mid camp away. And they're just gonna, I think, play this strangulation game as they look to choke whoa, I don't know what happened there. Choke Nova out here. They have the positioning. Would you expect them to get aggressive?
I feel like they need to get aggressive right now. They have the ability to do that. We got the front line here.
There's the passage. Another two-man core collapse. Hammy late to the party, but it's great for him this time as he avoids the stun. Rogue kind of missed their target there, so they'll go ahead and reset. But I like the aggression and the engagement.
In the next minute or so, Humanist, we're going to see the Kraken coming out onto the fold out of that Halcyon well. If there was going to be a team fight that's lost right now, that's going to be a big win for whoever gets it, taking that Kraken.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge win for either team. Rogue definitely have the advantage at this point, but I mean, I could see, potentially just a godly gauntlet from Eco, who almost has to like drop it on top of his opponent's head at this point. Like, he can't trap anybody out or inside because they'll be able to reflex and walk right through. They have the arcane passage to use as well. Hammy, Thunder Strikes coming through. Truth, feeling the pain. Hammy, really good positioning in and out of these fights here. Upon the original, kind of split off down in the tri-brush. Once again, he's just going for their mids. Mr. Take Yo mids. He's got it one more time here.
All your mids now belong to us.
All your mids now belong to us. They're going to go for the gold miner as well right before Kraken will spawn. So the Kraken spawning will definitely be a point of contention.
Yeah, and it's just going to be coming out in a few seconds. Whoa, Solar Storm a little bit late there. We actually see Truth coming online with a pretty good power spike now. This Celeste is working towards that broken myth. This is going to be a Celeste to be reckoned with, but we just can't have her get bursted down like she has been in previous team fights.
I mean, Hammy's really going to have to be inaccurate on these Thunder Strikes for Celeste to win this fight, I feel like. He still has his level 11, now level 12 infusion. He just refreshes that. Scout Trap still alive, doing work here.
The MVP Scout Trap.
The MVP Scout Trap. Get the infusions out for the whole team of Rogue, and now they are ready to start capturing this Kraken. We saw before with the Jewel, we'll take these objectives so fast.
So fast. Look, she's already melted halfway through it. And we're just going to see the tanky members, well, they're all tanky really, but the tankier members of Rogue just go ahead and frontline distract. While there goes the Kraken over to the side of Rogue.
I mean, the weapon Jewel just solos this Kraken so easily. Nova had no chance. They're not going to walk like right into a Lyra and a Rhyme who have all their abilities. and items ready to go. So now Rogue move forward. And honestly, if they play this one well, they could just close this game out right here.
In some ways, I feel like Hammy's Jewel is the perfect counter to this Celeste on Truth, because even though we can see the Heliogenesis spammed all over the map, that Rocket Leap can just bypass all those Helios. That Star Field of Mines is not going to do anything to this Jewel.
Yeah, it hasn't thus far, but if he gets clipped with some damage, maybe goes into the fight, 2/3 health or something like that, they could turn it around pretty well. Now, big red button from range. Hammy, gotta be careful. You see the Supernova coming through, doing good damage. Pawn's gonna try and sit at max range and throw a couple Winter Spires while avoiding the Helios there. Arcane Passage in. A nice block on the Core Labs this time. Get the wall. We'll go ahead and peel Rogue back, buying enough time for maybe Truth to stay alive. The Vanguard coming through from Eco, just enough. Truth can turn with the Helios. They're able to take down Pawn, the original Kraken, still alive. Hammy was doing really good work there, but they just couldn't find a kill. I mean, honestly, Eco played that so well.
Yeah, feels good, man. If you're Eco right now, throwing down a godly gauntlet like that, that was able to stun up the members of Rogue and just increase the potential for them to win that team fight. And in a way they did. They actually had to retreat from the base. Rogue is now a little bit on the back foot, so in this particular instance. So that was a good team fight win for Nova right there.
Really good team fight win. Now, let's team fight. It's time to stick together, team. What's the play, Delphi? You're gonna look to potentially lock anyone down. They just want to take this turret, and probably make sure they regroup and don't overstep and get engaged upon. It's 20 seconds till Gauntlet's ready to go. Nova definitely looking in a good place.
They're looking in a good place. This is a dangerous game that Rogue is playing right here, because we know that once it gets to late game, it's late game now, Celeste is online. She's able to just do so much damage with the Supernovas, Helios, the Solar Storms that are
Arcane
going to be coming
Passage
out.
there in. Good night, Truth! Oh, Thunderstrike just deleted him off the map. Rocket Leap over the wall. Hammy says, but you got nowhere to go, bud. Lone Delphi getting crit from over the wall. A big red button takes him down with a big red button. Oh, that doesn't feel good, man.
Just
Eco,
for style points.
yeah, he can pour it out here. But I don't know what he's going to do. Look at Hammy. Moves in. I'll take this turret. 406, 555. Easy Thunder Strikes. Rocket leaping forward. 406, 555, 406, 406, 555. That's all I see, Sean. Rogue are going to come through, take game 3, take this series, and move on to the finals of week 2.
Woo, doggy. What can I say about a weapon power jewel doing so much massive damage here throughout the entire game for the side of Rogue? Well done for them. They played well, they deserve the win. Kudos to them, and I'm looking forward to seeing them in the finals.
Kudos to them, kudos to you. I love Hammy's weapon jewel. I want to know what our analysts have to say about this one. Munchables, take it away.
Thank you very much, Humanist and Sean Astino as well. Excellent games coming out from Rogue there. The weapon jewel paying absolute dividends. We've seen Hammy get highlight plays with it before, and we're seeing it once again before our very eyes. Exceptional play coming out from Rogue, and it means that they take the series 2-1 despite starting off with a loss.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like it was going to be Nova just really impressing us again and just taking over this series by storm. But Rogue able to recompose themselves, recollect themselves in game 2, and then performing like absolute gods in game number 3.
Absolutely.
And honestly,
Now,
that requires such mental fortitude to be able to come back from a first loss and then win the entire series.
yeah, absolutely. Now, I want you to talk me through this first replay, Zorro. As it started at around 7 minutes, we saw Rogue getting a very early double kill.
Yeah, I mean, it started with Ryan pushing in, and this is what Pond was doing over and over this throughout the early game. He got 2 levels ahead of Lance just because he continuously stole the mid treant away from him. This time, Nova tried to defend it as a team, but Rogue reacted to it beautifully and pressured as a team too. So they faced him 3v3, and because of the level advantage that Rhyme had over Lance, level 8 to level 6, they were able to take that team fight very easily, and the Jewel coming out with that huge burst, just deleting Celeste.
I mean, you could see how fast they were able to get these kills. The next fight was just a few minutes later, and Rogue actually managed to turn it into an ace as well.
Yeah, and it's just kind of rinse and repeat the pressure. I love these rotations from the backside by a Rhyme. They don't even know that Hammy's around, and they're just all of a sudden, Rhyme and Hammy jumping on in and just deleting targets. These massive crits. 500 health crits when opponents have 2,000 health. That's a quarter of their health off of a 2-second cooldown. There's not a whole lot you can do against that.
Yeah, it's terrifying to try and deal with that. And we said that it was all about counting with this Celeste. It's very difficult to count when Jewel is jumping on your face and just obliterating your health bar. Let's take a look at the final fight of the game. This was Rogue kind of sealing the deal for this one and finishing things off.
They were sealing deal, and at this point for Rogue, the win condition is to just get on top of Celeste and deleting her. The beautiful portal coming out of from Evil, such a solid player throughout this entire series. He gets on top of Celeste. Jewel does too. Rhyme as well, and they Crucible and Reflex block the Kythian wall, and that's how they don't get stunned. As they were on top of Celeste, they were able to just completely kill her immediately in the team fight, and then move on to finishing Lance, and then finishing the game after they take the last 2 turrets.
Yeah, and this is like the 3rd or 4th time now already this season that we have seen this weapon-powered Jewel come out as a counter to the Celeste and do an incredibly good job of shutting the Celeste down, being able to put pressure on her to get onto the Jewel in the late game and just delete her from these team fights and not allow the Celeste to just build up and set these minefields that the teams have to run through. So maybe this is something that we have to work out for. We were talking about the weapon Black Feather. Now the Jewel seems to also be another strong counter.
Absolutely, and I think MVP for that series. Honestly, with the second performance, I almost want to give it to Hammy, but I think Evol's Lance in game 1 plus his Lyra, his engages were perfect with the portals in game number 2 as well, or game number 3, sorry. So I think Evil absolutely playing out of his mind and really stepping up to where Rogue need him to be.
For sure. And Jewel, the pick, is something that you can disregard just because you don't expect that often. But against Rogue, you have to expect it more. Nova banned it first game, forgot to ban it third game. They banned the Black Feather instead, or chose to ban the Black Feather instead. And Hammy picked it up and showed up huge on it.
All right, well, we do have an interview with Evil fresh off of his victory there. So let's say hello to Evil. Welcome to the stream, and also congratulations on a tremendous victory.
Hi. Thank you. I'm really happy. I'm proud of my teammates.
Yeah, you must be very happy. It was not an easy series coming out for you guys, though. Obviously, game 1 did go the way of Nova. What was the mentality like in the team going into game 2? Is it easy to just reset your mentality and go in strong again?
Through the first game, we understood that, it would take a lot of throwing for us to win that game, so we just calmed ourselves down. We just forgot about the entire first game and just focused on what we can do in the next game. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we'll see if you guys can keep that up going on into the finals. You guys have won this series. How are you feeling going on into the finals? Who are you expecting to be your opponents when you get there?
I think the obvious answer is going to be Cloud9, but I think that if Immortals can just play well, I don't know. Not Immortals are a tribe, but I think we're going to be playing Cloud9. I don't know. We'll see. I'm really excited for that because, yeah.
All right. So this is now the second time you guys have pulled out the Jewel as a counter directly to the Celeste. Is this something that you guys have identified as a hard counter to Celeste, or is it just something that Hammy is extremely comfortable on and he's just comfortable playing into that matchup?
What we usually try to do, we try to get Hammy onto a really comfort hero. In the first game, they pretty much banned out a lot of Hammy's heroes, and so what we decided to do is just more revolve around him. And this Jewel is one of his more comfortable heroes, and he's really good on it, really mechanically skilled on it. So yeah, we really like Jewel.
Awesome. Well, you've certainly been using Jewel well. Congratulations on your victory, and we will see you in the finals. Thank you very much for joining us on the stream. Let's take a look at our bracket as we move on towards our second semi-final of the day. It is going to be Tribe going up against Cloud9. This is a juicy matchup right here. This is a rematch of our finals back at the Summer Championship, and I'm excited to see whether Tribe can kind of get back on the horse. They didn't have the greatest first week in the Vainglory8, and now going up against Cloud9, they certainly are going to have their work cut out, but this is a team with a huge amount of potential.
Yeah, and it's a tough matchup coming into Cloud9 in week 2 when you need to get some points on the board to get some momentum for yourselves. But we've been talking about the fact that, you can come in second to Cloud9 and still go to Worlds, but if you're placing them this early, 4 points potentially on the line for you, you need to be able to try and pick up these wins against Cloud9, and that's a very tall task.
Yeah, and with how